Well, hello there. How you doing today? Hope everything's fine and dandy in your corner of the realm. And it's time once again to jump in and check out what's going on around this strange realm we find ourselves in.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one to find this weird. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, there were hundreds of thousands of orphans being shipped across the United States. And it wasn't just the United States, other countries had massive orphan situations too. Around that same time, you have entire cities burning down, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. You have thousands of adults being placed into insane asylums. And then you have these massive world fairs with buildings they say were just temporary and then torn down. Now I'm not saying anything crazy, but hypothetically, if someone wanted to reset the world and rewrite history by making sure the past is forgotten, what would that look like? Would it look like burned cities, the adult population being thrown into asylums, and tearing down remnants of the past, and then being left with orphans to repopulate the world and shape the narrative? Maybe it's all just coincidence, or maybe our history is a little more complicated and more weird than we were taught. But I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
History is his story. It has definitely been rewritten, in my opinion. And what she says is true, right? The orphan trains, the insane asylums, the world's fairs that were apparently built in a year or two, ran for 6 months, and then were then knocked down because they were just made of, plaster and stucco, right? Even though some of the buildings still remain standing and are clearly solid masonry. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Were we reset? And if so, when do you think this all went down?
I am standing in an abandoned city where a group of tech entrepreneurs have taken over one of the buildings with the dream of one day creating their own new country. This is Forest City. You probably know it from social media as the $100 billion ghost city in Malaysia. But what hardly anyone knows is that it's quietly becoming the testing ground for a completely new type of society, thought up and founded by this multi-millionaire. The group, called Network School, according to their website, is a startup society which you can apply to join. Some of their speakers include prominent names like Andrew Huberman, Brian Johnson, Nas Daily, the Winklevoss twins, and many more. If your application is accepted, you fly from your home country to Singapore, get on a bus with all the other new members, and then drive to your new home in the infamous Forest City. You pay $1,500 per month, and in return, you get your accommodation, 3 meals a day, gym, Wi-Fi, co-working spaces, classes, and much more. It is, however, $3,000 a month if you don't want roommates. The big question I had while visiting this place for our YouTube documentary is why? What is the point in all of this? Well, from the people I interviewed, many members seem to be just there to lock in, get healthy, and be around like-minded people while building an online business with no distractions. I mean, you're literally in an abandoned city. You can't get any less distraction-free than that. Whereas the founder of Network School, Balaji Srinivasan, has much bigger ideas. You see, he is an author of a book called Network States: How to Build Your Own Country. In it, he argues that as trust in governments, media, and traditional institutions collapse, internet communities will begin forming their own real-world societies that could one day function like entirely new countries. Now, whether that actually ends up happening here, only time will tell. But it certainly was one of the most interesting ideas I've seen in a while.
What do you think of that idea? I mean, obviously, when we see that, or when I see that, I think 15-minute city, but it doesn't mean it's nefarious. These people might be able to actually do something good, right? And I mean, it's pretty cheap living, even at 3,000 a month. I mean, that's, when you look at the state of the world and the price today, that's pretty good. Would you join something like this? Like, do you think it's worth giving a go? Because, I mean, we're at a point where we need to start doing things, right? We need to start having new ideas and executing them, right? Taking action in a different way. And this might just be it, right? Like, if you can get a city together, I mean, even a town, right? The One Small Town project. has been going for a few years now. That's where, you basically get a town, get everyone in there, or your mates or whatever, and take over the council and become your own ruling, make the rules, right? And become your own council and make the rules for yourself, or laws, whatever you want to call it. So that's just really this on a bigger scale, right? So what do you think? Would you join something like this? And do you think it's a good idea?
Senator Babbitt.
Thanks, Acting Deputy President. The biggest lie you've ever been told is that you're free. In the old days, slavery was at least honest. You could see the chains and you knew who owned you. Today, slavery is just as real but disguised so that most people don't even know that they're in chains. The World Economic Forum famously promised us the future. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. Look around, it's already here. Think about it. Next generation won't own homes, they'll rent forever. You don't own your car, you lease it. You don't own the movies or music you consume, you rent access through subscriptions. You don't own your money, it's digital credit that can vanish with a policy change. You don't own your phone, you're on a contract. You don't own your software, it's all cloud-based, licensed, never yours. You don't own your social media accounts, one strike and you're gone. You don't even own your own privacy, it's traded for convenience and so-called free services. You don't own anything, and are you happy? You probably are. Ownership was once freedom. Now everything is leased, licensed, streamed, and revoked at the click of a mouse. And here's the genius of it all. Step out of line and a system doesn't even need to jail you, it just switches you off. Instead of iron shackles, we wear invisible ones, and debt is the modern overseer. Whereas once the plantation owner fed and clothed his slaves, now we must do that ourselves, and we need to thank the system for the privilege. Slavery has never gone away, it's just been modernised to include every man, woman and child.
We are all gathered here today to serve services in New South Wales, where the RMS comes under. They are committing the most horrendous crimes under our Constitution, particularly violating the Monopolies Act. I've got cease and desist notices here. My friends have got other forms of cease and desist, and we're here to serve them in a peaceful way and non-belligerent, and for them to be put on notice that they must shut shop because the fraud is not tolerable by the millions of my fellow Australians. As far as refunding charges, they are going to be coughing up a colossal amount, running into probably billions. The wages of the wicked are laid up for the just, so there's going to be a colossal amount of compensation that this department is going to have to pay my fellow Australians.
The only way to bring the system to its knees is not participating. Marches are cool, strikes are fun, but they are not really effective in this day and time. The system only functions because we participate in it. We solely hold the power. And I'm not talking about days of non-participation. We need a sustained long-term commitment from the masses to not participate. If we all stop paying rent or utilities, are they gonna put us all on the streets? No, they don't even have the manpower to do it. If we all stop buying fast food, will they punish us? No. If we all stop spending money in stores and focus more on bartering and trading with our fellow human, will they whip us? No. This is not a new concept. This has been done dozens of times in modern history, most recently in Europe. Always remember, our money powers the system. We can withhold it.
Yes, mass non-compliance. And like you said, these ideas have been thrown around a lot, especially lately, right? The whole don't pay your tax. I think there was a day in America, don't pay your tax on a certain day. I know they've tried it in Europe. They definitely tried it in Australia. I don't know how successful it was. And the whole don't spend money, don't use your bank for a few days. And they are, I guess, steps towards getting rid of this control system. But really what I think it is we just need to come together, right? We need to come together. We need to realize that your fellow men and women are not your enemy, right? We are all on the same playing field, right? And the controllers, the elites, are the ones that we need to focus on getting rid of. And I agree with him. We need to do things like withdraw our funding of the system, because once their funding goes, everything grinds to a halt. And we've seen this. We've seen it with, you remember Budweiser when they did that ad with that Trans Am person. And I think Budweiser lost like billions of dollars. The same thing happened to Disney, where everyone pulled their subscriptions. So we can definitely do things, but everything we've done so far has just been a little bit. It's never continued through, to the collapse of the system, obviously. But, let me know what you think. What do you think the solution is here? Because clearly most people are now aware that we are completely being ruled by psychos who want to enslave us and want to live off us. Not just, extracting our loosh through fear and all this kind of stuff, but live off our productivity, right? While they drain the world of its resources. This is what's going on, and everyone's starting to see it now. So, I agree. We all need to come together and we all need to take affirmative action in the same direction. But what do you think the solution is?
Look at this photograph. Not a painting, not an illustration, a real photograph from the 1800s. It shows a tree stump so large that a dance hall was built on top of it. People are standing on it, waltzing, laughing, drinking. The stump is wider than most houses, and the cut at the top is perfectly flat. Not jagged from axes, not splintered from handsaws, flat, clean, machined. Now look at this. A canyon wall somewhere in the American Southwest. Not a famous one, not the one on the postcards. A section that most tourists walk past without stopping. If you zoom in on the face of that wall, you see lines, parallel lines, evenly spaced, running horizontally across hundreds of feet of solid rock. Straight lines that never deviate. The kind of lines you cannot make with a chisel and a hammer. Not in that volume, not at that scale. Not that consistent. Nobody in mainstream geology has a satisfying explanation for those lines. They call them erosion patterns and move on. But erosion does not carve parallel grooves into vertical rock faces with centimetre precision. Water does not work in straight lines. Wind does not either. So here is the question that's been sitting in the back of certain researchers' minds for decades. What if the same technology that cut those trees so massive their stumps became buildings, also carved those canyons? What if what we call geological formations are actually something else entirely? What if the Grand Canyon, the slot canyons of Utah, the sandstone corridors of Petra, and dozens of other formations around the world are not the product of millions of years of water erosion, but the remnants of an industrial operation conducted by a civilization we have been taught did not exist? This is the territory we are entering today. Not mythology, not fantasy. Evidence, physical, measurable, photographable evidence that something does not add up. Welcome. Let us start with the trees. In the 1800s, logging companies in Northern California, Oregon, and parts of Nevada documented trees of almost impossible scale. The stumps left behind after these trees were taken down still exist. Some of them are over 30 feet in diameter. The Centennial Stump in Kings Canyon is one. The Mark Twain tree stump, now in the American Museum of Natural History in New York, is another. The museum had to cut it into sections to get it through the door. These were real trees. Nobody disputes that. The stumps are sitting there in the ground. But the question that alternative researchers started asking around 2017 and 2018 was deceptively simple. How were they cut? Look at any photograph of these stumps closely. The cut surface is not rough. It is not the kind of surface you get from a two-man crosscut saw, which was the primary logging tool of that era. Crosscut saws leave a specific pattern. They leave a slightly uneven surface with a particular grain to the cut. The surfaces on these stumps do not match that pattern. Several of them show a finish that is consistent with a large diameter, rotary cutting blade, a circular saw, but not a hand-operated one. Something powered. The official story says those trees were felled using axes and crosscut saws by teams of loggers working for days or weeks. And for smaller trees, that is entirely believable. For trees 30 feet across, the math does not work. A standard crosscut saw of that era was, at most, 12 feet long. You cannot use a 12-foot saw to fell a tree with a 30-foot diameter trunk. The geometry is impossible. The saw cannot reach the center. This is basic woodworking logic, and mainstream historians have never provided a satisfying answer. They suggest teams worked in coordinated stages using springboards, but no one has ever demonstrated that method at that scale. There is no documentation of the actual felling process for the largest specimens, just the stumps sitting there, cut clean, and an official story that stops asking questions. Now here is where it connects to the canyons. In 2019, a researcher named Philip Druzhinin began systematically documenting what he called tool marks in canyon walls across the American West. His findings reached researchers in Europe who identified similar features in the canyon systems of Spain, Turkey, and the Caucasus region. The marks follow a consistent pattern. They appear on vertical or near vertical or rock faces. They are parallel, horizontal, and evenly spaced. They often appear in sections as if whatever made them was moving laterally along the face of the rock, and crucially, they appear in the hardest sections of the rock, not the softest. If these were erosion marks, they would follow the path of least resistance. They would be more pronounced in softer strata and absent or minimal in harder strata. The opposite is true. The marks are most consistent in the harder layers. This is a problem for the erosion explanation. Water erosion works through abrasion, where sediment carried by fast-moving water gradually wears down rock. But abrasion does not leave parallel horizontal marks on vertical walls. It leaves smooth, curved, irregular surfaces, consistent with what you see on the
With what you see on the what? Don't leave me hanging, man. Jeez. Giant trees. What do you think? You know, we have these, what they call mesas or tabletop mountains everywhere. Like they are everywhere. And like he said, they have a smooth surface at the top. Definitely way too big to be cut by men with a saw. And, you know, as far as circular saws, machinery, that would have to be a really, really big saw, right? So how do you think they did this? Do you think it was some kind of laser cutting down? And who do you think did it? You know, he kind of alluded to the fact that he thought it was the previous civilization, but I doubt that. With all the research I've done, the previous civilization seemed to work with nature. And these trees would have been part of their infrastructure, right? And part of the ecosystem that was creating a high frequency realm, right? And you know, a very life-giving, abundant realm. So I very much doubt that they had anything to do with cutting it down. If we look at old stories, the Bible, I think it's in the book of Enoch, says that the angels cut them down, whoever the angels are or were. So, you know, my thought is that it was that, well, they were cut down by a nefarious group, right? A group that came in to invade us. And the trees were such a massive part of, you know, the system here, the realm, the ecosystem, that they had to go, right? Because they kept the frequency up way too high. They were drawing up all the prime waters from below, right? And putting them into the atmosphere. They were, you know, supporting massive amounts of life, and they would have changed the atmosphere, right? We would have had a lot more CO2 in the air, which in turn would have made creatures bigger. And they tell us that this happened. You know, we've all heard the stories of the dragonflies with the meter wingspans and the giant, you know, woolly mammoths and sloths and sharks and everything, right? Everything was bigger, centipedes, all this kind of stuff. You know, they tell us that things were bigger in the past. So the question is how? How were they growing that big? Because it's like, you know, the fish in the tank, right? It only grows to the size of its environment. And so clearly, with animals only growing to the size that they do today, if they were bigger in the past, the environment would have needed to be bigger, right? And CO2 makes things grow bigger. Today, farmers pump CO2 into greenhouses to get bigger crops. Like, it's a proven thing. So definitely, you know, I think that they were taken down as part of the invasion. But let me know your thoughts. Why do you think they were taken down, and who do you think did it, and how? Were they using lasers, or what do you think?
7 blessings, my lady.
Blessings.
Have you ever held a blade before?
No.
Take this blade.
No. That's dangerous. What are you doing?
You must defend yourself.
No, from whom? What? Well, let me see it, but I'm not going to kill anyone, eh? Wow. Oh, it's cool. Be careful, eh?
Join the Night's Watch and fight for the realms of men.
No, no.
No?
No.
Why not?
I don't kill anyone. I just love and feed people. Come, Samuel.
You feed people?
Yes, you want to come for dinner at my home?
What are you making?
I'm making tacos, like with Mexican food, darling. My husband is Mexican, so he likes Mexican food.
I like Mexican food.
You're invited if you want, but leave your sword in the garage.
Okay. Do you want me to bring something?
No, for true, no, don't bring anything. We don't need anything.
I'll bring something. I'll bring a pumpkin pie.
All right.
Jeez, I was a bit worried there for a minute, but the real men and women prevail, right? And, this is how we change the world. Just be kind. Just be who you are, because men and women are good people. They are. And children, of course. We're all born good. It's the system. If we believe they're crap and their fear, that's what turns people into not so nice people. But I mean, even those people, even people that aren't so good, most of them would go and help dogs too, right? Because that's who we are. We're about life. We're about helping. We're about loving. And, this is how we change the world. Just be kind.
Notice! Customers caught leaving the building by this door will be asked to leave. So if you use this door, please turn around and read the sign so we can tell you to leave instead of just leaving on your own. Just fucking do. Knock first and wait for an answer, or fuck off. Money talks. Scooby-Doo ending a prayer. Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Listen, please take it easy on me, all right? I have ADD, and this is the first time the pastor let me make the sign out front, okay? Be aware! This place has cockroaches! Now, that's roaches of the genitals. It's real scary. Now, I gotta be honest, I wasn't really much for that last pastor they had, but, this one seems pretty cool. He's got some pretty good ideas. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Once the food is give it to you, if a seagull take it from you, will be no refunds. The seagulls don't work for us. Sorry for the inconvenience. How f***ing stupid do I look?
I'm sorry, bit of a trigger warning, a few F-bombs there. People actually write these signs, it's crazy.
Do you want to know something that I've always questioned? And I might have just worked it out. Now, I've always been sceptical of whether the energy that we pay for in our homes and in fuel for our car really comes from the oil that they're drilling for offshore, like in the North Sea or the Middle East, or even in onshore fracking. And the reason that I questioned this in the first place is because I know about the jet fuel hoax, and I wondered if it was simply just a fuel hoax. Like, why would you stop at jet fuel? Do you know what I mean? And obviously this video is for entertainment purposes only, but while I was researching the oil, I found out that it is a completely closed process. It's never seen from when it's deep underground all the way to our radiators in our cars. It's only ever seen in small samples, never in the massive amounts that is produced. And you cannot find images online of it in these big tanks. The people working on the rigs never ever see masses of oil. And I've looked into it a few times, but I could never figure out what they'd actually be drilling for if it wasn't oil. And in something completely unrelated, I posted a video yesterday about resonance, and so I'm just wondering if any of you have seen it yet. And in something else completely unrelated, after I posted that video about resonance, I asked Google if the Earth itself vibrated, And here's the answer I was given. In the strictest scientific sense, the Earth does not just vibrate, it rings and pulses through two distinct, measurable types of resonance. One is mechanical and the other is electromagnetic. And then, in something else completely unrelated, did you know that one of Tesla's many theories was that he thought that if we could actively vibrate the Earth ourselves, we'd be able to create a worldwide power grid? Tesla believed that the Earth was a conductive entity that could be struck electrically to oscillate like a bell by pumping high voltage impulses into the ground to create stationary waves by matching the Earth's natural frequency. And in something else completely unrelated, in geophysical surveying, they use resonance to vibrate the ground to find oil or gas deposits. The process involves sending controlled acoustic energy, sound waves, into the ground to map the subsurface structure. Interesting. And just to keep it all unrelated and random, take a look at these drill heads. Very strange looking tools for moving oil, aren't they? Let me know if that resonates with you.
Ah, well, thank you, Lassie. See, that's not racist. I can say that because my name's Campbell. That's an interesting question. You know, we all know about the jet fuel. And, you know, there's also been a bit of research done into like power lines, right? Are they actually sending power to houses or not? You know, there's quite a bit of research being done into that that's saying basically they're not supplying the energy, right? Because if you're looking at how energy moves, like electricity, it doesn't actually move down lines. It just excites different electrons as it goes down. So it's really electrons jumping up and down, not moving. You know, so are they even sending us electricity through the power lines? But what do you think about oil? I mean, that's a good question. It's definitely not out of the realms of reason when we know what these lights do, right? And those drill tips. You know, yeah, you know, we've been taught that, you know, they spin around and that's to drill through, you know, the ground, right? And rock and all this kind of stuff. But they kind of do look like that they could be creating frequencies, don't they? So what do you think? You know, Tesla said the Earth vibrates and then we can use that power. Obviously, is there a link to the bells of the old world there? Creating resonance? Is that how they were also generating more ether energy? It's a good question, right? Obviously, I'm not a geologist. I don't work in the oil field, but if anyone out there has more info on this, definitely please leave us a comment and let us know. But, you know, the fact that we never see this stuff, I mean, you don't even see petrol when you're pumping in your car, really. I mean, you know, looks like something's going in, but we really don't know like what's in there, what's under the ground, like all this oil that they tell us is running ships and things. Is it really, or are they all running off a completely different system and they're just getting us to pay, you know, for freight, for flying, all this kind of stuff? Is it a big scam? What do you think? Leave me your thoughts below. And there we go, guys. We've come to the end of another one. So I hope you enjoyed that one. You know, a bit on everything there, a bit of the good news. I want to start putting, you know, some more good news, right, in these videos, because we're just swamped, right, with the bad stuff and the conspiracy theories and, oh my God, the government are doing this and they're doing that. So I'm definitely going to concentrate on putting more good feeling videos in there. So let me know if you're up for that, if you think that's a good idea. And of course, guys, if you did enjoy this, please do give me a like, share it around, hype it up, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribed. And of course, like always, stay awesome because you are. And I'll talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.
You want to go for a walk?
Sam, do you want to go for a walk? Wanna go for a walk?
What do you think? You wanna Do you want to go for a walk?
Going for a walk.
Want to go for a walk?
Want to go for a walk?
Do you want to go on a walk? Do you want to go on a walk?
Lemon, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go?
You want to go for a walk?
Would you like to go? Ooh, that ear.
You wanna go for a? Wanna go for a walk?
Want to go for a walk? Oh.
Do you want to go for a...
Go on, go outside.
Get to college. Me and Jesse can
go to the dog park. Do you want to maybe go? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a walk? Good girl.
Go for a walk?